Okay, folks, I'm back. Jeff Landfield here. Boy, it is 83, 82. It's a hot day. I was downtown earlier. Mayor LaFrance had an event for her 1 year in office. She took office 1 year ago on July 1st, 2024. So it's been 1 year. So it was an event for her 1 year in office, and then also it was a dual event for the kind of RV park, which really, it's an RV resort. We're going to get into that later. It's not an RV park. It's apparently an RV resort, according to Mike Robbins, the head of the Anchorage Community Development Authority, which, by the way, he's like the one, I think maybe the only really Bronson survivor. He was Bronson's head of ACDA. Didn't even know he was still there until last week. I saw him at the assembly talking about this RV resort. So it's downtown on 3rd and Ingra, at the site of the old Native Hospital, where, if you remember, there was a very large homeless camp last year, which I tried to, or was it 2 years ago? It would have been 2 years ago, that I tried to stay at over the night. And I was, after about 6 hours being there, I was threatened. It was a very wild situation. So it was a huge homeless camp that was cleared out. Now it's been sitting kind of dormant. Last week at the assembly meeting, I've heard about this, but I wasn't really following it that close. They basically voted to allow this place to become an RV resort. Again, it's not an RV park, it's RV resort, according to Mike Robbins. And they're going to spend money to, some people are mad about it. It wasn't housing, but they wanted it to be housing, but they want to use the land for something. So I go to this thing thinking it's going to be, a nice event. It's 1 year. There's going to be her staff and members of the public and the media and whoever. And I got there, and there were some people there. There was media there. There was some members of the public. And there was a bunch of folks there for this, it was basically groundbreaking. It was a groundbreaking for this new RV resort. I'm going to call it RV park, but Mike Robbins at some point insisted it's not an RV park, it's an RV resort. It was really strange. So he starts, and the whole thing was just almost like comical. So it starts off, there's a couple speakers, big loudspeakers, and a microphone, but it's not working. It's cutting in and out. It's really kind of, you can barely hear it, and when it does work, it's not very loud, and then it was cutting out. So after, some technical support tried to fix it, Mike just gave up and started talking. And Mike has a loud enough voice where you could kind of hear him. But, don't forget, we're downtown. We're on 3rd and Ingra. So there's, like, airplanes flying over all the time from Merrill, and then helicopters. So that was very loud. And then we're right behind 3rd Avenue. So there's cars coming back and forth. So it's very loud. So Mike's really excited about this RV park they're going to put in there, and he's talking about it and all that. And then so I got a picture here. I'll pull up the picture. Let me go to the old. Hope you can hear me. Setup's all been reinstalled, so I think it's going to be fine. But if you're having any issues hearing me, or the audio or the video or anything of the quality, make sure to send me a text. So here's the event. There was more people behind me, so it was not huge, but it wasn't it was more than a few people. So that's the event, and then here's the agenda they were passing out. So you have the land acknowledgement, which I'm going to go into that later because that got weird. The overview from Mike Robbins, the Community Development Authority. By the way, this stuff took way less time than they're putting here on the agenda. The mayor's remarks, constant assembly chair came up. There was this weird groundbreaking, which we'll go into, and then kind of a Q&A. So it starts off, LaFrance, when Mike Robbins done, LaFrance gets up there. And I think I got a picture here. Yeah, here it is. So there's a picture. Did I post that picture? There was a picture. Not sure if I posted it or not, but basically LaFrance was had some notes, and no one could hear her because there was no loudspeaker because it didn't work. And then she had her assistant, one of her assistants, Barrett Wilbur, and somebody else spent like 20 or 30 seconds trying to kind of change or raise or lower this kind of music stand or something in front of her for her notes, and that took so she was just standing there, and it was really awkward. And again, you could barely hear her because these planes were flying over, and there was these cars and all this noise, and there was no loudspeaker. So she talked for, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes about how great things are going. And then Constant gets up, and I know Chris for a long time. I like Chris, but Chris spent all this time talking about. I want to make sure we're going here. Hold on a second. I'm not seeing. I just want to make sure. Oh my gosh. I checked this, and I'm pretty sure it's working. But let me just. Oh yeah, it's fine. Okay, we're fine. So So Constant gets up there and he spends all this time talking about, this land acknowledgement, and this is a historical kind of grounds for the Dena'ina, and they've traversed this area to get to the water, and how it's a living kind of spiritual land acknowledgement. And then it's like, we're going to make it an RV park. It was just kind of so strange hearing like, oh, they're going to put some monument up there for the land acknowledgement, and it's this living land, spiritual land acknowledgement. But we're going to put it in an RV park. We're going to have some septic, and we're going to have some power. We're going to have all kinds of equipment out there to install this RV park. And then, meanwhile, all this, Chris is talking a little louder than LaFrance, but all this like traffic and airplanes and is making all this noise. And then Robbins gets up. He comes back, and there were some kind of questions from people there, like from the reporters. And there was a guy, I don't know if he was a reporter, who he was, but he asked I'm sorry. Before that, this is the funniest part. Almost, they did a groundbreaking, right? And they had these like golden shovels. I think I got a picture of one of these here. Do I have the picture of the golden shovel? They had these like golden shovels that Mike Robbins was really excited about. Let me see if I can find these. I have the picture. I thought I had it teed up here. Here we go. So this is these shovels that they were, so they get up there and they have this pile of dirt somebody put there, which I guess that's what you do, for a groundbreaking. But so they had LaFrance and Chris, and then Rob Couples there from Third Avenue Radicals, and Robbins, and then this other guy, I'm not sure who he spoke earlier. And then they were kind of like, who else can we get? Like, who else wants to? And this one girl, like Roddick was her name, and then they were like, is there anybody from the Downtown Community Council here? And they spent like I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds trying to get more people. So they didn't even have the shovel people like figured out. So they get a few more people up there. They're doing the shovels, and then they spend about 10 or 15 seconds discussing like, where do we put the dirt? I mean, this was a real thing. They were talking about like, where does it go? And so Robbins was like, well, just throw it on me or throw it over here. And I mean, they actually like discussed this like awkwardly for 10 or 15 seconds about like how they were going to pick up the dirt and like where the dirt was going to go. This is real. This really happened. So then Robbins gets back up and they're going to answer questions. And this guy, I don't know if he was a reporter or not, I didn't recognize him. He basically said like, because Robbins was talking about the economic, and ACDA is going to put in a little bit of money, but we have a partner, like a private partner, who's going to invest the money, and we're going to have all this, economic activity, and maybe some, I don't know if there's going to be any money to the city or not, or not sure if they figured that out, but all this like economic, 30 or some $1 million it's going to generate this RV park. So this guy called it RV park, and then Robbins was like, it's not an RV park, it's an RV resort. I have no idea what the difference between an RV park and an RV resort is. But this guy asked about it, and then the guy said, well, who's the partner? Who's the person you guys are working with? Again, we're at a groundbreaking, right? And Robin says, well, I can't talk about that. We're in the middle of, there's no contract signed. We're negotiating. There's an RFP process. And then the guy's like, what do you mean? Like, this was a groundbreaking. Aren't you here to talk about this great RV resort? And we're going to get it built. And either they don't have a partner, they don't have a private partner. They're talking to folks. Maybe they have one picked out. They don't want to announce. It sounds like they're talking to several. And there's like an RFP. So we don't even know who this company is, who this person is, who's going to invest the money to build the RV resort. And then they asked about like when it was going to be online, and he kind of said like, well, 2027, like springtime. So I mean, we're talking about, a year and a half. It just seems to me crazy. I mean, it should be done in 6 months, but he's talking about 2027 maybe, and it was just really not. Up to that point, there was all these bungles with the sound and the audio and all this other stuff, but before he started taking questions, it sounded like this was at the assembly meeting last week. They were talking about the RV, this and that, and it's going to be, we're going to use the land, and we're going to downtown. There's not going to be a homeless situation. We're going to utilize this old site of the Native Hospital, and something's going to be done with it. And some people were mad it wasn't going to be housing, but whatever reason, this was what they chose. But then there's no partner. There's no company. So they're having literally a groundbreaking with shovels, these golden shovels. Pull it up again here. And we have no idea who this partner is, if they've chosen one, if there's multiple they're talking to, if there's an RFP. This is like amateur shit here. This is just amateur. If it was my event, first of all, like, why are we doing the event? What's the point of it? Okay, what are we announcing? Do the loudspeakers work? Do we test that? Are we going to be at an airport, near Merrill? Okay, it's going to be very loud. There's going to be cars. We need to make sure people can hear. I don't think it was live streamed anywhere. I thought maybe it would have been. I checked. If it was, I couldn't find it. It wasn't on the mayor's. All they had on the mayor's page was a. Let me find this here. They've kind of done a pretty. I gotta give them credit. They've kind of done a pretty good job, doctoring the. Let me find this here. I should have pulled this up. Let me go ahead and pull up Facebook here. I should have had this teed up. Let me go into here. So it's LaFrance. You can go to her page, her mayoral page. Mayor, whoops, I should have this teed up here, folks. My fault. I'm a one-man operation here, so I need to have. If you like the landmine in our content, please consider making a donation one time or monthly, or buy an ad. We're trying to make this whole thing happen here. So here's their kind of. This is like a thing they posted. It's very doctored. I mean, it's kind of. So it's them, and they're doing that, and then this took a while to figure out how they're going to do the dirt, who's going to have the shovels. So I mean, it looks. This is like after the fact. It looks nice, but it took a while to get there. So again, it was just kind of almost a little symbolic to me for kind of where things are with this administration, and just kind of the lack of. And then there was a Q&A afterwards after the RV resort stuff was done, and then I asked her. I said, because they were talking about her goal for 10,000 houses in 10 years, which is 1,000 a year. We're doing a couple hundred right now. There's a lot of problems with zoning and building codes that need to, the government needs to get out of the way. But I asked her, I said, if all the houses you want built are built, will the vagrants, the drug addicts, the campers, these people that are just plaguing our city, will they be gone? And she kind of said, well, we need more treatment and we need more this and which I think we do. I agree, but you also have to crack down on it and not tolerate it. That's part of it. That's carrot and stick. And she kind of like, well, yeah, but I do think if we had all the housing, yeah, things would be a lot better. Which, if you don't enforce it, no, they won't. No way. It's got to be enforced. You have to have strict enforcement and stop tolerating it. Chris Constant chimed in and made actually a few good points that I don't disagree with. The state needs to do more for, the mental health treatment, the API situation. They've gone way down on that over the years, and the feds probably. I mean, I don't think we should be relying on the federal government for money, but Anchorage is the hub. Anchorage is the place people come from all over the state. It's where the services are. It's where the big hospitals are. It's where Beans Cafe is, and the shelters, and all these different, and Brother Francis, and all these. So it's like where people come, whether they're in trouble, they get kicked out of somewhere, their community, they're cold, they're somewhere else, whatever. They come here. They want to get away. They want to come party for a little. They come to Anchorage. So the state the state does bear, I think, some responsibility for all the people who kind of end up in Anchorage that don't have a place to go or can't live where they are or want to go somewhere where it's easier to kind of have a shelter or camp with their buddies or get drunk or what's going on. So that's part of the issue. But I mean, overall, this event was just this. I mean, to me, the funniest part was like this big talk of this like land acknowledgement, like these Denina, these stewards of our Aklutna. This is like these great people, and it's like we're gonna make it an RV park. Like we're going to put in the septic, we're going to bring in the equipment, we're going to put in the power, we're going to have all these people here on this sacred land. Now, I subscribe to the Bill Maher kind of theory on this, or the idea of this with these dumb land acknowledgements. Either this is Bill Maher, either give it back or shut the fuck up, right? For thousands of years, people have taken land. This is kind of how it goes. We should obviously be aware of the people that we're all his cultures, and we shouldn't be rude or anything or mean, but this idea that we have to always do a land acknowledgement and then nothing really, it's all performative. I mean, they aren't giving it. I mean, nothing's giving this land over there, for example. They aren't giving it back to anybody. They're using it for the city's investing money with some mystery private person. We don't know who they are. Maybe they haven't been chosen yet to make it an RV park. So, I mean, it's just performative and it's kind of nonsense, but it's just really funny to me when they spend all this time, and this is a living spiritual land acknowledgement. This place, we're going to have something up like a monument, but really it's we're going to use it for an RV park. Thanks. We're gonna have great concessions. We're gonna have a great time over here at this historic, sacred land. That's gonna have 30 or 50 or I don't know how many RVs are gonna be there. But that was that. It was worth. I'm glad I went. It was entertaining. It was a little bit cringeworthy. It's one of those things where you have kind of a secondhand embarrassment where you're somewhere where something's really awkward and you're kind of watching it like, oh, I don't really want to. I can't watch this. It's so awkward. But it was also funny, so it kind of worked out. So that's that. Anything else? There was another story I did today. It's kind of a funny story. It was rather weird. Bernadette Wilson, Republican candidate for governor, who's going to get us our full dividend. She's perpetuating the dividend delusion. She announced a campaign meet and greet in Soldotna, but it was pointed out to me, and I checked into it. The location she chose, this Alice sister, or what is it, Allen Sisters coffee shop, is a drive-up coffee shop. It's a drive-through window. So that was really funny to me. It's like, you're not going to have a meet and greet unless somebody suggested maybe she's going to work the window like Trump worked the McDonald's in Pennsylvania for the campaign stunt. Maybe that was it. Somebody else suggested it was a Giuliani moment. You know, the Four Seasons Hotel Philadelphia. He accidentally booked the Four Seasons Total Landscaping. So anyways, like not very long later, that disappeared. And then she commented, "Oh, mix-ups happen or miscommunications happen." And then she posted a new one for the meet and greet with a new place, Mel's Bakery, also in Soldotna, which I guess maybe that's the one. I don't, it's July 9th. But to me, just like hilarious that you get that kind of mix-up. I mean, it's like you're going to have a meet and greet. I thought it was very funny having a meet and greet at a drive-up. Maybe you're going to meet outside and everybody's going to buy a coffee. So that's that. Anything else going on? I was working on a few other things. That's kind of it's hot. It's very hot right now. It's 82 in my office. I don't know what it is outside. Seward is this weekend, 4th of July. My company, one of the companies I own, the Tudor Road Studios I co-own, we're down there in Seward. We're going to be broadcasting, again, the Mount Marathon race. We've been doing this for 4 years. This year is going to be our biggest production ever. You know, we have guys in the mid-mountain, top of the mountain, drones, finish cam for the men's race, the women's race, the kids' race, all this stuff. We have a pre-show. We have Holly Brooks and Andrew Casting. They're going to be doing the pre-show on Thursday night, and then they're going to be doing the live commentary. It's going to be broadcast live on Channel 2, KTU and KYES. So it's going to be on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Mount Marathon page. Also, it's going to be broadcast live on Channel 2 and KYES on Friday. It's going to be rebroadcast on Saturday. So this is our biggest kind of production yet of the Mount Marathon race. It's Friday, July 4th in Seward. If you're going to be down there, come say hi. I'll be around working and doing stuff. Or you can watch it online on the Mount Marathon Facebook page or YouTube channel or KTU. You can watch it live. We're pretty excited about that. So a lot of stuff going on this weekend. It's 4th of July. It's on a Friday. Very excited for Independence Day. We have an awesome country. Very excited to live here. We should all be very excited to live here. A lot of people unfortunately don't like America, which is bizarre to me because it's such a great country, and everybody still wants to come here. That's how great of a country America is. But there's a lot going on. It's 4th is on a Friday this year, which is great because Friday, Saturday, Sunday weekend. Last year I think it was on like a Tuesday or Wednesday. It's not the best when it's in the middle of the week. When it's on a Friday or a Monday, it's a lot better. So I'll be in Seward. If you're down there, say hi. And there's going to be stuff all over the state, parades and events, and should be a lot of fun. Looks like the weather's going to be pretty good. So that's that. That's kind of the today's update. I'm going to be doing more live streams, like I said, on all this local stuff going on, state stuff. We got the elections next year, 40 legislative House seats, 20 Senate seats. 2 people aren't running for re-election. Lyman Hoffman and Gary Stevens, who combined have like over 60 years in the Senate or in the legislature. They're both leaving. So Louis Stutes is running for Gary Stevens' seat. Bryce Edgman probably most likely going to run for Lyman Hoffman's seat, which will create a void, kind of vacuum in the House. Luis was Speaker. Bryce is currently Speaker. Luis is Rules Chair. They've been both in leadership in the coalition. So them leaving opens up the House for an interesting kind of power struggle for who's going to be in charge. And then in the Senate with Lyman and Gary gone, Gary Stevens, current Senate President, Lyman Hoffman, longtime finance member, co-chair, he's gone. So who's going to be in charge in the Senate? How's that going to shake out? There's going to be some other interesting races, depending on how few of those go. There could be a very interesting kind of Senate next year. Even though Louis Stutes and Bryce Edgman have a lot of experience in the House, when they go to the Senate, they're going to bring a lot of experience with them and they know everybody, but I don't think they're going to come in there, they're going to come in there kind of at the bottom. They aren't going to come in there. I mean, you got Bert Stedman, who's been around a long time, Donnie Olson, who's been around a long time, had a stroke earlier this year. He's trying to we'll see how he's doing about, his speech and if he's, still going to be able to run the meetings. He's co-chair of the Finance Committee. There's Kathy Giesel's up for re-election. She's probably going to have somebody, I imagine, a real race. And there's Republicans really want to be kind of in charge, but they have problems with some of the more kind of extreme members and, some of the Valley folks who want the full dividend and who have a propensity historically to attack their fellow Republicans on the internet, on Facebook, on the radio, on these podcasts. And that just kind of drove them many of them over the edge to go in the coalition, which has been around. This is, last time, and then now this is the next iteration of the coalition and the state Senate. So a lot next year, a lot of races, the governor's race, the U.S. Senate race, Dan Sullivan. Nick Begich is going to have an opponent for sure. And, we have this bill going on, this big, beautiful bill, and Murkowski is getting a lot of flack from the left because she voted for it. All these people who loved her and praised her, now they turn on her. It's kind of her, ability to navigate and thread the needle on this stuff is just really kind of incredible. Sullivan had a press conference earlier. It was on remote, online. I attended it, and he talked about a lot of things. And I'm not following the federal stuff as close, but I mean, it is for Murkowski. She was front page of the New York Times a couple days ago. She's kind of right in the mix here. She voted for it. J.D. Vance broke the tie. It's back in the House. People are kind of freaking out. It's kind of front and center, especially with Murkowski. So, yeah, that's the kind of day that LaFrance event downtown was just kind of bungled very badly, but funny to watch and entertaining. And we have the Bernadette Wilson mix-up, sure, her, Rudy Giuliani Four Seasons moment. So that's kind of the day in recap. I'm going to be doing more of these, folks. If you like the landmine, like watching me, reading the website, please consider making a one-time donation or monthly recurring donation. You can just go on the website, alaskalandmine.com/subscribe, or you can just click subscribe. Or if you have a business, an organization, a group, whatever, if you're doing ads, we have a lot of ad space. We have great ads on there. We have they really stand out. We have good analytics. We have hundreds of thousands of people of page views a month on the website. I'm happy to show the analytics. So if you're looking to reach political people or people who are kind of interested in what's going on in Alaska, if you're trying to reach those eyeballs, please get a hold of me, and we'd love to sell you an ad. One more thing I want to show you. I was driving earlier. This kind of is par for the course for Anchorage. I was driving earlier, and I was on Tudor. Pull this baby up here. I was on Tudor, and I'm at the light, and I'm going to turn south onto Lake Otis, and I'm sitting there. I'm first, as you can see, and it's a red light, so I'm stopped. And there's this guy on a bike hauling ass, kind of crossing over in the road, shirtless, and he just kind of almost came out of nowhere. And then he came at me, and he was within like an inch of hitting my rearview mirror. Goes in between my car and the median, right? So a very small, tight fit for him to go on a bike between my car and the median. Almost hits my rearview mirror. Takes off. He's in the turning lane. There's some cars behind me. Goes over into Tudor, going east the wrong direction. He's literally going into traffic the wrong direction. This all happened in the course of a minute. I'm watching it. It's just crazy. The guy could have been easily killed, really hurt or killed. And it's just this is par for the course for Anchorage. He just needs a house, folks. Just give him. If you give that guy a house, we're all going to be. The problem's going to be solved. It's all going to be resolved. He just needs a house. Just insane. I wish there was I'm wondering if there was a cop. If the cop saw this with this guy, I doubt it. Would he get in any trouble? Would he get cited? Because definitely that's against the law. Going in the middle of traffic on a bike, crossing over through a median, almost hitting my car, going the opposite direction. There's got to be a lot of laws he's violating. If a cop would have seen that, would he have gone to jail? Would he have gotten in trouble? Would he have got cited? Probably not. This is why we have all these one of the reasons we have all these pedestrian deaths. People just, it's like flagrant, do whatever I want, blatant. And the guy, I don't know if he was on something. He just did not look at all concerned. He looked like he was riding, on a trail, just without a care in the world. Very, very, very weird. Very scary, actually. So that's something I saw earlier today. Was not very pleasant. But again, if you like the landline, please consider making a one-time or monthly recurring donation, even if it's $5 or $10. We appreciate that. Or if you want to buy an ad on the website, we're happy to. I'm happy to send you that ad rate sheet and show you the analytics of the website. So, thanks for watching. Stay cool out there. It's a hot day here in Anchorage, and we'll see you folks.